A poor teenage boy walks into one of the most exclusive boxing gyms in the city. His clothes are worn, his shoes barely holding together, but his eyes, they burn with something no one there can explain. He walks in, clutching a crumpled flyer for a free boxing class, hoping this is where his dream begins. But before he even reaches the front desk, the gym owner steps forward with a smirk. "Kid, this place isn't for you," he says, loud enough for everyone to hear. There's laughter, judgment. And just like that, the boy is turned away. What happens next? Not only silences the entire gym, it rewrites the rules of who gets to fight and who gets to rise. Before we continue this story, let us know where you're watching from. And if stories like this inspire you, don't forget to subscribe, because tomorrow at 6 p.m., we have another one that just might move you even deeper. He was just a kid, but there was something in his eyes, something even a millionaire couldn't buy. It was 4:43 p.m. when Jaden Lewis pushed open the glass door of Iron Haven Boxing Club. The gym smelled of rubber mats and expensive cologne. Everything inside gleamed, chrome, leather, mirrors so clean they looked like water. On the wall behind the reception desk, golden letters glistened under LED lights. Only the elite rise. Jaden didn't belong there, and he knew it, but that didn't stop him from walking in. His hoodie was 3 winters old. His sneakers had a tear near the toe. A piece of duct tape held his backpack together. But he walked with purpose, clutching a folded flyer in his hand, the one that said, "Beginner Boxing Boot Camp, free trial class this week." He had memorized every word on it. What he didn't realize was that free didn't mean for kids like him. The receptionist was still chewing her gum when she spotted him. Can I help you?" she said, raising one perfectly shaped eyebrow. "I'm here for the free class," Jaden said. His voice was soft but steady. She looked him up and down, once, then twice. Her jaw clenched. "You mean the intro boot camp for adults?" She emphasized, as if he couldn't read. Jaden nodded. "It says, 'Beginners Welcome.'" That's when a deeper voice cut through the room. A man stepped out of the side office, holding a protein shake and wearing a Rolex that probably cost more than Jaden's apartment. Mr. Brooks' owner, former light heavyweight champion, now full-time businessman and part-time inspiration speaker. He looked like he walked off the cover of Men's Health, and he didn't like what he saw. "You lost, kid?" Brooks said with a chuckle. "No, sir." "I'm here to learn," Jaden answered, standing straighter. Brooks stared for a beat too long. "This place ain't for drop-ins, especially not charity cases." Silence. A few gym members chuckled. One guy doing curls whispered something to his friend, and they laughed without hiding it. But the flyer, Jaden tried, wasn't meant for you, Brooks snapped. "We work with serious athletes, professionals. You want some gloves? Try the rec center in North Philly. They let anybody in there." Jaden swallowed hard, but he didn't leave. Not yet. Jaden looked around one last time at the polished ring, the hanging bags, the photos of champions on the wall. Then he lowered his eyes, turned around, and walked out. The door didn't slam behind him, but the silence it left in the abuse room spoke louder than any punch ever thrown. The sun was low now, casting long shadows over cracked sidewalks. Jaden walked fast, like he could outrun the humiliation building in his chest. He passed the basketball court, the corner store, the alley where old couches lived. He turned into the community park and sat on the bench with his hands in his pockets. He didn't cry, but his fists were clenched so tight his nails cut into his skin. His dream had felt close, real, and now it felt stupid. Therefore, that night he didn't sleep. Instead, he searched boxing drills without equipment on his old phone and practiced shadowboxing in the mirror until his arms gave out. And the next night, and the next. By the end of the week, his knuckles were raw from punching a taped-up mattress. His school shoes were wrecked from footwork drills on the asphalt, but his eyes still burned with something the world couldn't smother. 2 weeks later, a video surfaced on social media, just 26 seconds. A grainy clip of a boy, Jaden, training in the rain, drenched hoodie, no gloves, no coach, just him and a busted punching bag tied to a tree. The caption read, "This kid trains like he's already in the ring. Somebody give him a shot." And then something unexpected happened. The video made it to a man halfway across the country. A man who once slept outside a liquor store, clutching a script nobody wanted. A man whose name was now on Hollywood's Walk of Fame, Sylvester Stallone. He didn't comment. He didn't repost. He called someone instead. 3 days later, Iron Haven's parking lot was swarming with black SUVs and press vans. Inside, Mr. Brooks was finishing a protein shake when one of his trainers came running. "You're not going to believe who just walked in." Brooks rolled his eyes. "Tell them we're private. No walk-ins today." "It's not just anyone," the trainer said. "It's him." And there he was, Stallone, leather jacket, dark glasses, silent. He walked into Iron Haven like he owned the place. Behind him was a small figure, Jaden, clean hoodie, nervous eyes, and something in his hand. It wasn't a pair of gloves. It was a letter. Stallone walked up to the ring, looked at Mr. Brooks and said just one thing. "I heard you train champions, so tell me, what did you see when this kid walked in?" Silence fell like a punch. Everyone was watching, and Mr. Brooks, who had spent his life judging by strength, was finally being judged by something deeper. Jaden didn't speak when Stallone handed him the floor. He didn't have to. Everyone inside Iron Haven froze, phones in hand, jaws unhinged. But Jaden wasn't focused on them. He was looking directly at Mr. Brooks. "I came here 3 weeks ago," Jaden said, voice low but unshaking. "You told me I didn't belong. You laughed at my shoes. You said I wasn't a real fighter." He opened the letter. "And this is from the man who played one." Stallone stepped forward. "Go on, kid." Jaden cleared his throat, then read. "To Jaden Lewis, some people train with millions in equipment and never learn to fight. You fought before you ever threw a punch. You remind me of someone I used to know. His name was Rocky." There were no claps, just goosebumps. Flashback. Jaden's world. Jaden's apartment wasn't really an apartment. It was the top unit of an old row house on South 23rd Street. No elevator, no air conditioning, but a tiny TV that worked when the antenna was in the right place. His mom, Melanie Lewis, worked nights at the hospital cafeteria. She left sticky notes on the fridge with hearts drawn in red marker. "Heat up the pasta. No skipping breakfast. Love you more than Rocky loves Adrian." They'd watched every Rocky film together. It was their tradition. Whenever life hit too hard, they watched Rocky III. And when she had nothing left to say, she just quoted, "It ain't about how hard you hit." Jaden grew up on that line like it was gospel. On the edge of the neighborhood sat a forgotten building with cracked bricks and a hand-painted sign. The Pit. Inside, the lights flickered. The heavy bag hung from a rusted chain. The walls were lined with photos, faded by time and sweat. That's where Coach Marcus trained kids like Jaden. No fees, no contracts, just heart. He was a former boxer himself, cut short by injury, built back by love. Now he spent his days training kids who had more fight than fortune. He saw Jaden's video before it went viral, but unlike the internet, he didn't scroll past it. He went looking for him. "You hit like a truck," Marcus told him after their first session. Jaden smiled for the first time in days. But Jaden couldn't shake the memory of that gym, the lights, the ring, the rejection. It haunted his confidence. Coach Marcus noticed it. "You keep looking over your shoulder," he said one day. Jaden hesitated. "I want to prove I deserve to be there." "You think proving something to them is what makes you a fighter?" Marcus asked. Jaden didn't answer, because deep down, he didn't know. When Stallone saw the clip, he didn't see a viral video. He saw himself at 24 sleeping on the streets of Manhattan, script in hand, with no one willing to bet on him. So he called a friend in Philly. A quiet visit, No PR, no red carpets. "I'm not doing this for the cameras," he said. "I'm doing this because someone should." Therefore, Stallone reached out to the pit. He walked in, shook Marcus's hand, and said, "I want to help this place. But more than that, I want to help this kid." He didn't donate money. He brought trainers, he brought gloves, speed bags, cameras, for film review, and one very specific object, the original leather gloves from Rocky II, signed, framed, and gifted to Jaden. But Jaden didn't hang them on his wall. He placed them in the center of the gym for everyone to see. Despite everything, Jaden struggled. Now that people were watching, now that he had Stallone's name attached, expectations began to rise. Fast, a local promoter offered him a match. First amateur fight, Jaden hesitated. Not because he didn't believe in himself, but because, what if he lost? Coach Marcus saw the hesitation. "What's the fear, son?" "I'm not afraid of getting hit," Jaden said. "I'm afraid they'll say I was just a moment, a charity case, that I don't deserve the gloves, the gym, the shot." Marcus leaned in. "You ever see Rocky win in the first round?" Jaden smiled. "No." "Exactly. Now, lace up." Jaden lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Beside his bed was a piece of paper, a drawing his little cousin made, a stick figure version of Jaden with big red gloves and a championship belt. Above it, in purple crayon, "You, my hero." Meanwhile, across town, Mr. Brooks sat in his office at Iron Haven, watching the clip from weeks earlier, Jaden's first entrance. His face told a different story now. He picked up his phone, paused, and put it down. Fight day. Crowds gathered at the community center gym. Stallone sat in the back, arms folded, watching quietly. Jaden stepped into the ring. No music, no lights, just breath and sweat and silence. Across from him, a taller, older fighter, already boasting 2 amateur wins. The bell rang. Jaden took a hit and smiled. The first punch came fast. Jaden barely saw it before it cracked across his jaw. The crowd gasped. Someone in the back shouted, "Cover up!" Another yelled, "He's too small." Jaden staggered a half step but didn't fall. He blinked, reset his feet, and shook his head like a dog shaking off water. Across from him, his opponent grinned, tall, older, confident. He was used to winning. And Jaden? Jaden looked like a warm-up. The second round was worse. Jaden absorbed 2 body shots and a right hook that snapped his head sideways. His legs wobbled. He clinched. The referee stepped in, separated them. And still Stallone didn't flinch. He sat quietly, arms folded, eyes focused, like he'd seen this scene before, because he had. In every Rocky film, there's a moment when the fighter loses control, when the music fades, when the world tilts, and something either breaks or is born. Jaden's moment was now. He leaned on the ropes as the bell rang. "Coach." Marcus met him in the corner with a damp towel and fire in his voice. "You want out?" he asked. Jaden shook his head. "Then listen. You're not here to survive. You're here to show them you belong." Jaden breathed deep. The taste of blood hit the back of his throat. But how? Marcus leaned in, forehead to forehead. "Start fighting like nobody's watching." Jaden's fingers clenched. His jaw tightened. And when the third round bell rang, something shifted. He didn't wait. Jaden exploded from the corner, feinting left, ducking a jab, and driving a left hook into his opponent's ribs. The taller boy groaned. Jaden didn't stop. Right, left, jab, jab. His rhythm sharpened like music only he could hear. Suddenly the crowd wasn't shouting advice. They were cheering. Even Mr. Brooks, who had snuck in and stood in the back unnoticed, crossed his arms and nodded once. Jaden didn't knock him out. He didn't need to. He lasted all 3 rounds, bloodied, battered, but still standing, and when the final bell rang, both fighters lifted their gloves. The announcer called the decision. Jaden didn't win by points, but he won the room. Stallone stood and walked to the ring. Jaden turned, dazed. Their eyes met. "You got something," Stallone said, "something real." Jaden smiled through. Split lips. Think I'm ready for Iron Haven now? Stallone chuckled. Kid, Iron Haven ain't ready for you. That night, the story exploded. Clips from the fight lit up Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. A 13-year-old goes the distance in his first fight. Stallone's new Rocky? From street training to center ring. News vans parked outside the pit. Interviews were requested. Cameras followed Jaden home. But he didn't care about followers. He went back to training every day. Early mornings, rain or shine. Coach Marcus installed a new heavy bag. Stallone sent new gear. The neighborhood started showing up, watching, asking to learn. The pit became more than a gym. It became a movement, but with attention comes pressure. Our promoter reached out with a real offer. Junior nationals, big names, big stakes. Jaden was hesitant. He'd trained for survival, not for spectacle. Meanwhile, Mr. Brooks began posting vague messages online. Some kids fight, some kids market themselves. Know the difference. The tone was obvious. The message was for Jaden. Stallone caught wind. Let him talk, he told Jaden over the phone. Let him doubt, but don't ever let him decide what you are. The call ended with a single sentence from Stallone. You get one shot at silence, make it loud. Jaden took the offer. Nationals were weeks away. He trained harder than ever, slept less, ate cleaner, focused like a laser. But 2 weeks before the fight, his mom collapsed at work. Jaden found her at the hospital, IV in her arm, eyes tired. Just low iron, she said. I'm fine, but Jaden knew better. She'd been working double shifts to keep the lights on. She'd skipped meals to make sure he ate. He blamed himself. He almost dropped out. That night, sitting beside her hospital bed, he stared at the ceiling and whispered, maybe Brooks was right. He didn't realize his mom was awake. You listen to me, she said weakly. I didn't work 2 jobs for you to doubt who you are. But if you lose, you lose, but you go in there knowing you fought for something bigger than a trophy. Jaden's hands trembled. She squeezed them. You fight for everyone who's ever been told to sit down and shut up. So he stayed in and trained. And the night before Nationals, Stallone sent one final gift, an old grainy photo. A younger Stallone, sitting alone in a diner booth, writing the Rocky script. No fans, no cameras, just hope. On the back, 4 words. This was my start. Jaden brought it with him to the fight. The stadium was bigger, the crowd louder, but he was calm. He stepped into the ring, looked at his opponent, taller, faster, trained in facilities Jaden had only seen in magazines. But Jaden had something else. He had purpose. And just before the bell rang, he whispered to himself, I fight like no one's watching, but I know they are. The bell rang, and Jaden charged forward. Jaden didn't win the first round, but he didn't expect to. He studied, adapted, took punches without fear. He moved with a rhythm that belonged only to him, awkward at first, but purposeful, like a boy who'd learned to dance alone in the dark. In the second round, he clipped his opponent with a jab that made the crowd erupt. It wasn't clean, but it was loud. Then a right hook, then a dodge so clean it left the other boy punching air. People began to chant his name. Not many, but enough. Enough to make it real and in that moment, Jaden didn't think about Mr. Brooks, or Instagram, or what would be said if he lost. He thought about his mom alone in the hospital room, whispering encouragement between coughs. He thought about Coach Marcus, standing ringside with silent pride and 1,000 invisible scars of his own, he thought. About Stallone, not the celebrity, but the man who once pawned his dog to buy food and got him back with his first paycheck. He fought like they were all in the ring with him. By the final round, both fighters were bleeding, both exhausted. The referee checked on Jaden twice. He nodded both times. When the last bell rang, Jaden dropped his arms slowly. Not in surrender, in peace. He knew what he had done. The decision was close. Too close. And when they raised his opponent's hand, Jaden didn't flinch. He stepped forward, shook the boy's hand, and whispered something no one else heard. Then he turned to the crowd and raised his own hand. Anyway, people stood, not because he'd won, but because he hadn't. Broken. Stallone met him outside the locker room. No cameras, no crowd, just them. "You okay, champ?" he asked. Jaden smiled. "Yeah, because I didn't come here to win. I came here to finish." Stallone paused, then placed a hand on his shoulder. "Most people don't know the difference. You do." That night, Jaden returned to the pit. He didn't celebrate. He swept the floors, helped rewrap the bags, took photos with 3 new kids who had just signed up. One of them asked if he was the guy from YouTube. Jaden smiled. "I'm just a guy from South 23rd. Time passed. He kept training, kept fighting. Some wins, some losses. But every time he stood back up, the pit grew, donations came in, a new ring was installed. The cracked bricks were painted over, but not fully. They left one corner untouched, and on that wall, in black markers, someone wrote, "It's not about how hard you hit." Beneath it, J.L. Mr. Brooks eventually reached out. He offered Jaden a spot at Iron Haven, training, sponsorship, interviews. Jaden declined. He said he had everything he needed. And then he offered Brooks something back, a chance to help fund scholarships for underprivileged youth. The gym owner hesitated, but he accepted, because sometimes redemption doesn't come with a knockout. It comes quietly, in the ring or just outside of it. Years later, when Jaden was asked what changed his life, he never said Stallone, or the fight, or even the viral video. He always said the same thing. The day someone looked at me and saw more than my shoes, he was just a kid. But there was something in his eyes, something even a millionaire couldn't buy. Hey, thanks for watching. You know, life's kind of like a fight. You're going to get hit. You're going to get knocked down. People are going to tell you you don't belong. And sometimes they'll laugh before they even know your name. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's not about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. So if this story meant something to you, hold on to that fire, because the world might not see it yet. But real champions, they rise in silence. Appreciate you being here. Keep punching. I'll see you in the next round.